In the past few years, I have made many adjustments to my original thoughts on how the Royal Navy should approach its new threats. We learned the hard way during the Anglo-Japanese War that we can't keep running all the time away from the simple problem that our escort ships are not up to scratch. Admiral Fisher realized this as well, and immediately assigned me to the Design Bureau to help look at designs and give my thoughts. I'd commanded cruisers, I'd watched over destroyers, and, well, I guess he figured, rather, that I would be a welcome addition to the force. And, well, frankly, I'm not quite sure if we can find a solution. See, as much as I want to say that the Royal Navy is up to standard, we're not. Our ships might be the most modern, yes, but we don't have the necessary range adjustments. So, we have to make those adjustments. I wish I could say which ones I think are the best, or better, or something. And I've talked to torpedo boat captains. I've talked to many people. In fact, I still can't find a straight answer, and it's bugging me. Perhaps I'm missing something. I probably am. I must be missing something. Warlord's been excellent to have, but frankly, neither of us can come up with a good solution. Angus is on the warpath again, after repeatedly pointing out to the Navy that you can't just blow up everything on the shoreline and then expect us to walk over it. And frankly, I'm surprised that he hasn't been shot by a senior officer or been thrown out of Admiralty headquarters or Army headquarters on multiple occasions. Thankfully, Admiral Fisher and a few other powerful men in the government seem to agree with Angus on his many, many points that he's made about the struggling issue that we can't have proper amphibious forces. He's even talked to me about designing ships specifically that are able to get within range and provide better fire support. He's been begging the Naval Design Bureau to have more accurate gun tables and more accurate guns simply so they can fire better to support the troops. Which then they in turn argue is completely useless, as we're not firing on land, we're Navy, we fight this, and yada yada, it goes on, and on, and on. Sometimes for hours on end, and on multiple occasions it has nearly come to fisticuffs. So, yes, things are going well. And then, of course, this morning, as I'm trying to enjoy a morning cup of tea, followed by some coffee, because honestly I don't get enough sleep, especially with 4 young children in the house, and the youngest apparently deciding that she will wake up every day and choose violence by crying loudly at God knows what time in the morning. At 4 o'clock this morning, I got a call from Admiralty headquarters informing me, "Congratulations, Captain. You're being promoted, and Admiral Fisher needs to see you this morning at the earliest possible convenience in London. We're at war. Thank you." And then just hung up the phone on me. Which is mildly irritating, as I had to then take the first train to London, so I didn't get there till almost noon, because all the troops are moving around, and all these officials, and all these Navy sailors, it's frustrating. To which Admiral Fisher informed me, "Congratulations, Captain, you're being promoted to Commander. Here's the new fleet we're going with. We set sail in 3 days' time. China's declared war on us because we told them to stop messing around with Hong Kong shipping. And apparently no one in the Admiralty there is able to get hold of anyone. And they just nearly blew up a transport, so yes, we're going to war. And this, and that, and this, and that. It's an hour-long conversation, and quite frankly, I don't remember half of it. Just that, congratulations, you're promoted, we're going to war, here's your cruiser command. Get Willard, get Smith, and get your cousin, because your cousin needs to get to, the Holy Land and set up in the Mandate and get some troops ready, because you're going on a naval invasion, and then send your cousin to Egypt, because this and that, and I will tell you firsthand that Angus was not happy to be awoken earlier than he would have liked, as he was doing night training for the past week with his amphibious forces and specialized units, and, well, to say that he cussed me out on the other end of the telephone for waking him up at the ungodly hour of 2 o'clock in the afternoon, for him to just finally say, I'll get the troops ready, give us a week, because quite frankly, we've been doing night training, and we're all on like 2 hours of sleep. Please give us a couple weeks, just send what forces we have there, they know what we're doing, send one of my lower officers, they know what they're doing, just send them, handle it, I'll be in there in time for Egypt, and whatever else we need to do, because honestly, we're going to have to go into Mesopotamia, because of course we will. Now, with all that rambling out of the way, I shouldn't say that everything has been all bad since the end of the war. See, at the end of the Japanese War, I made a list of recommendations to Admiral Fisher, and he wholeheartedly agreed with me and actually added things to my list that I hadn't even thought of. See, as much as the Dreadnought class has served us well, we need a modernization. So, in 1913, Admiral Fisher politely approached Parliament and suggested a naval reform bill, which everyone was shocked about. Why is the Lord Admiral of the entire Navy here in Parliament telling us to pass a bill? To which then he explained to them that, did you see how much we struggled to just get ships over there because of how slow our battleships are? Dreadnoughts fine and all, but more nations are building dreadnoughts, and quite frankly, do you like having freedom of navigation? Because I like having freedom of navigation, and do you want to fall behind? Or, worse yet, do you want the Soviets, who already basically have what we believe to be half control over multiple Canadian provinces, to get even more control? Or, heaven forbid, let's say we come to blows with our American cousins. Do you really think that just having more dreadnoughts is gonna work? We learned that during the Japanese War we need escorts, but we also need better battleships, ones that are capable of combating their peers. And after much hooing and hawing, because no one likes to spend money, someone pointed out that we've been running a budget surplus, and we can actually afford to commission, like, 8 new classes of ships. And if we really wanted to get insane, if we took out, let's say, a couple £100 million, we could build 20 new classes of ships, I believe they said, including 8 classes of battleships of 40,000 tons or greater. To which Admiral Fisher immediately turned to Parliament, who said, you can get less capital ships, make use of it. So, with a few new battleship and battlecruiser classes coming down the line soon, I hope that those ships will be able to, well, perform. They haven't been tested out against peers yet, and frankly, that's the thing. The only thing we've fought with the new ships, comparatively to their pre-dreadnought ships, is, well, pre- and semi-dreadnoughts. We haven't had dreadnought on dreadnought combat yet. At least in the British Navy. I wonder. I do wonder what would happen when the Dreadnoughts finally come to blows?